Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, Bitcoin coming back up again. We're in the same situation as this morning, but there are a few big events that's coming up. One major one, but it could be a nothing burger, but I think it's very relevant, and that's why I want to bring it up. Also, a big event that's happening tomorrow, and a big event that happened tonight with the equities market. So there's a lot of big events. So let's talk about what they are and what this means for Bitcoin and crypto overall. Let's get started. So thanks for tuning in. Smash with a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing good today. And by the way, if you are tuning in and you see that I have a super chat link posted or a live chat thing posted, and that's because I'm just trying to help my son and his school and overall the American Heart Association. There is a kind of like a donation thing going on right now, right, to just raise money for the association overall. So if you guys want to contribute, all super chats from tonight will go to it, or you can use the link that I already pinned in this live chat. So it's a good cause. Okay, outside of that, let's get started. Overall, Bitcoin is at 36,900. Would be better to be at 39,000, but 36,900. And again, it did start turning up. So kind of unexpectedly, because it was looking pretty gloom. Like after this morning, Bitcoin just started coming down and down and down and down and down and down. And then it hit 35.5 again. And then all of a sudden, boom, it started coming up. Right? So almost to 37.4. Now it's around 37, right? So again, the market is really surprising, right? It's kind of wonky right now. Good news is bad news. Bad news is bad news. And sometimes no news is good news. That's what's happening right now, right? So we do have some stuff that's going on right now. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? If it was, Bitcoin will be back to 33,000 again, or 30,000, or 28,000. No, Bitcoin is still holding strong. So let's talk about the news, all these big events that I've talked about, what's going on. Well, first of all, let's look at futures for the equities market, which is all green. All green. That's good. That's good, right? Because this morning with the GDP results, it turned all red. Because right now we're in a weird situation where good news means bad news. Because the better the economy is, the worse it is in terms of rate hikes and decreasing the balance sheet and everything the Fed wants to do. So if you look at it that way, it's not so good, right? But we got some help from Apple. Apple released their earnings today. Remember last week, I said this week is a big earnings week, especially with Microsoft, Tesla, and Apple. Apple blew away all expectations. And why Apple started going up in the aftermarket and not down like Tesla, because Tesla also blew away all expectations. The difference is supply chain. Apple actually says supply chain is improving, right? Unlike Tesla, which said they still had supply chain issues, they didn't say it was improving. Tim Cook is like, no, it's improving, and things are looking good. They made huge headways around the world, especially in China, and of course in the US. Sales are blooming left and right, and they had a terrific, terrific quarter. And this brought the market up, especially NASDAQ, because it makes no sense right now for the Wall Street traders to be selling off big tech like Microsoft, like Tesla, like Apple. It doesn't make any sense. They're doing very, very well. So in a strange turn of events, good news is actually good news. So we're actually seeing a rally, right? So this is definitely having an effect on the overall market. I appreciate, guys, all the super chats I'm seeing right now. I do appreciate it. And trust me, it's going to a good cause, good association. So thank you. But this is good. this is good. So we're finally seeing some good news equal good news. Okay, so we'll see what happens. The last few days, the futures, not a real good indicator. We have seen things flip left and right. So hopefully this stays, right? But it is a step in the right direction. Now, that's one piece of good news. Now, we do have this other piece of news, this other event that's coming up that so far is not having effect on the market, which is also good news. And what is that? That is this new report that came out of Bloomberg that the Biden administration, the current administration, is looking to regulate Bitcoin. And they treat it as national security. So what this is saying is basically over the next few months, the administration is going to task every single body out there, including the SEC, the Treasury, the CFTC, and any other regulatory body out there, FinCEN, whatever that's out there, they're going to take a look and come up and present, you know, the worst case scenario, best case scenario, like how crypto should be viewed, how it should be treated, how does it relate to national security, and all this stuff, right? They're going to gather all their data and present it, and basically they need to figure out universally how to regulate Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency, because Biden and current administration realize that this is not going to go away. You can't ignore Bitcoin anymore, right? So they want to know how serious this is. Quite surprising that after this got released, we didn't see more like sell-off for Bitcoin. I'm actually really surprised that this didn't cause more panic or anything, right? So I'm glad people are paying attention and realizing that this is not right now. This is over the next few months, right? And some argues that this is actually a positive thing for Bitcoin. Okay, you know who argues that? Michael Saylor. This is the article what I was saying. Michael Saylor have gone on record many times saying that in order for Bitcoin to become mainstream and to become a real asset class that everyone can invest into, guess what? It has to be regulated. And many agrees with that, right? So this could actually be a good thing. This could be, one of those things that really propel Bitcoin forward. And finally, maybe Gensler from SEC will finally get us a Bitcoin ETF, right? Maybe this is why he's denying it, because he knows this is coming, right? So like someone says, legitimacy is good. So you know what? Let's just see what happens, right? There's a lot of reports. There's another one about how, this was talking about how there's like a secret crypto strategy, right? Basically, they want to come out with their own stablecoin and regulate the stablecoin industry. I have no doubt they want to regulate the stablecoin industry. And I don't think that's a bad thing, right? Because of all this controversy about USDT, whether or not Tether really has, the backing. Do they really have that much cash on the side, right? And all this stuff, all the controversy. Well, I mean, I think regulating them would not be a bad idea, right? Regulating stable companies, stablecoin issuers, it's not a bad idea to make sure they actually have what they say they have, right? So there's that. And of course, the US is looking at digital USD because every other country is coming out their own CBDC. So it makes sense, right? And we already had this last year. This is not the greatest thing, but does add to the legitimacy or regulations is the infrastructure bill. And this is the one where it requires that all crypto exchanges basically report anything that's above 10,000 in transactions. So this more or less helps the IRS, but it also does help contribute to detecting like money laundering and stuff like that, right? So there's that. So it does seem like, the current administration is taking things seriously. So this is going to be a big event, right? But right now we just got to wait and see, right? This is not something that we need to panic. This is something that we need to see how it develops. Of course, you can't just rely on the politicians to just do whatever, right? That's why as this progresses, we need to figure out what exactly is being done, whether or not sneaky, like laws is going to be snuck in some of these acts, right? And we need to pay attention and bring it up to our Congress people if there is an issue, right? So as this develops, we'll see. But this came out of not Bloomberg. No, it came out of Bloomberg today. So quite interesting. So this is another big event, right? And there is one other big event that's coming up tomorrow, and that is the options expiration, right? There is a big options expiration tomorrow for Bitcoin. It's a relatively big one. I mentioned about the max pain price this morning. It's at 42,000, right? So is there a chance that we shoot up to 42,000 before option expirations? Maybe. We have seen that before. Most of the options are more towards calls, and they're all mostly above 40s to 50s and 60s. You have a big one right here at 70,000, almost 4,000 calls with over 2.4 billion in volume. Ooh, a lot of these guys are going to be wrecked. But if the max pain gets to 42,000, that's the most damage that it can do on both sides. So there is also this event that's coming up tomorrow. And anytime we have options and futures expiration, because tomorrow's also futures expiration too with CME, you usually have volatility. But sometimes the volatility could be good because right afterwards you see a tremendous pump up. We have seen that before, right? So we'll see. We'll see, right? So we got some big events that's going on right now. Now, besides the big events, are there other good things going on? Yes, there's a lot of good things going on, right? A lot of things. The fundamentals just keep improving. There's no doubt about it. So let's start with this. The crypto infrastructure firm Fireblocks, which is a custodian, and I believe they're the ones that Celsius uses. They just raised $550 million, and now they are valued at $8 billion. Remember, I talked about all these companies being valued at billion. NYDIG valued at $8 billion. FTX recently, FTX.US, one of my partners, valued at $8 billion. Animoca Brands, which is into NFTs, valued almost to $6 billion. ITrustCapital raised a fund. They're worth $1 billion, right? Do you get the picture? Every single firm within crypto basically is getting serious money. And that's because there are a group of investors that realize this is the time to get in, right? This is the time to get in while things are still weak and things are still early, because these companies will be the powerhouses of the future. Like how I talk about Apple and Microsoft and Tesla, who's to say that these companies won't be as big as they are in 5, 10, 15 years, right? This is the time to get in. That's why they're raising so much cash right now. So very positive overall. What else is positive? Fidelity. You know, they had a Bitcoin spot ETF that was denied today. Well, they're not stopping. They're going to try to come out with a metaverse ETF and a crypto industry ETF. So ETFs is definitely here to stay. And I'm interested to see what metaverse ETF is. Maybe they're just going to put in like Facebook and Microsoft in there. I don't know if there's any other metaverse companies that's probably traded right now. I'm not sure what that's going to include, but crypto industry ETF, that's pretty easy. You can put miners in there, and you could put like Tesla and Block in there and stuff like that. But it's quite interesting. And Fidelity, they own Bitcoin miners too. They have their own farms. They invested in farms. They're really involved with Bitcoin. They're also a custodian, and they also have a crypto desk too. So they're really gung-ho on Bitcoin and crypto right now. So that is very, very good. Very good indeed. All right, so you got those kind of news going on. That's good. What else is good? Well, just a couple other things. The percent supply of Bitcoin, of BTC that hasn't moved in 1+ year. Basically, the holders, it's increasing. Increased by 5%. 5% within the last 2 months. So it does show that no, holders are not panic selling. Holders continue to hold. And newcomers that came in, they continue to hold, right? And this overall, This is why this is going up, right? So this is one of the metrics I like to show, just like liquid supply, like reserves on exchanges dropping, right? And all the other metrics that show Bitcoin top. Nope, none of them show that we have hit top. In fact, they're showing that we're coming to a bottom. So this is pretty awesome. And then what else is this? This is measuring the number of active addresses. So this is kind of hard to read, but overall you can see that we had a pretty good peak in 2017. Things came down a little bit, right? We had another pretty good peak at 64,000. This one at 69,000, not as high, but we're definitely still moving in the right direction, which shows that the number of people coming in still increasing. Not as much FOMO as before. And that's understandable, right? Because we barely broke 69,000, our previous high, barely broke above 64. But trust me, this will go up once the market breaks above, continues beyond 70,000 plus. This will definitely go up. But it is encouraging to see that we didn't get a huge significant drop down, right? It still shows that the number of addresses is holding. That's good. That's good overall. Outside that, overall market cap, you can see Bitcoin dominance went up a little bit again. Just this morning was about 41.4, and I talked about how altcoins showed some strength. Unfortunately, a lot of altcoins sold off, and Bitcoin gained some dominance, and I think it's because of this fake out. A lot of people thought that it was going to go down again, right? We saw this, and then probably people thought, it's time to sell. This is why I say it's hard to time top or bottom, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people at this point threw like a short leverage out there, and then they got wrecked. And I'm sure there's people that threw a long leverage up here and got wrecked, right? This is why you don't play with leverage. You don't know where the market is going to go exactly. The only true way to win in this market is to have patience, to HODL and DCA. That's really, really it. But right now, we're in that iffy period where we're kind of trending up from our bottom at 33,000, right? Not quite there yet. We have a lot of exposure right now to NASDAQ and the equities market, but we are coming up. We are coming up, and we will get through this. We always do. We always do. Hey, thanks for everyone that has super chatted me because of the American Heart Association donation. I do appreciate that. So unfortunately, I hopefully I didn't miss a lot of super chats. So I do appreciate it. Let's do some Q&A. BitNova, keep doing what you're doing. Bahamas Atlantis meetup. That was a good meetup. Sporadic meetup. I'm sorry, man. I forgot your name, but we had a good chat. Waiting for a next vacation. Some people talked about Grimace Coin on BSC. Okay, well, thanks for all the super chats there. All right, let's do some Q&A. Geostone, appreciate that. Gennaro, please explain why Terra's not exploding with others. That's because Terra was very, very strong the last few weeks. It's bound to take, it needs to take a break. Everything needs to take a break. But Terra, don't trust me, it will come back. And I think right now, everyone is trying to take advantage of UST, right? UST with Anchor, it's like guaranteed 20%. But yeah, I think that's going to continue. And the more UST that's being minted and used, the more Luna is going to be burned. What do you think about Pavia? I think you spelled that wrong, Pavia and Cardano. I like it. It's one of the promising, metaverse land plays that's out there, but it's not really close to completion right now. The game is not close to completion, but the land sales are very hot right now. So land sales is actually, last time I checked, it was like 1,000 ADA, right? That could have gone even higher. So, yes. Robert, appreciate it. Colleen, thank you. Brad, thank you. Sidekick. Yes, he is. I think he'll shatter all records because of me. But, again, this is for a good cause. So I appreciate it. Richie, thank you. I wish I didn't borrow against my house for Dogecoin. I pray it goes back to 70 cents. I really hope that you're kidding about that, because that was just really bad. It probably won't get back to 70 cents again, but borrowing against your house to get an equity loan, I've always said, don't buy crypto on debt. Don't buy it on credit card. Don't buy it on a mortgage, because you put so much pressure on yourself. Plus, you have to pay that interest. And plus, you bought something that you really shouldn't have, which is Dogecoin. So I'm sorry to hear that. Thoughts on DOT? Kraken willing to get 12%. Do you see it moving? Yeah, it's going to move. 12% for DOT is not bad. Anything that's above 10% is actually really good. Kraken is a fine exchange. Polkadot itself is a fine chain, right? A lot of parachains turning up. Soon it will be done, and then they'll be pretty complete. But there's also exciting stuff like Moonbeam that's on there that has EVM compatibility, and there will be bridges that's also going to Polkadot. So I think overall it'll be fine in the future. Dizo El Portavoz, can you give me advice on? I was 100% in November. Now I'm up 3. What's the best way to move on it? I'm not sure what you mean. You were 100% in November. Now you're up 3. I don't know what that means. If you're up, are you asking you're up? You want to take profits? If you are, you always want to take out your original investment first. Then you could decide whether or not you want to just leave the rest ride and leave it there, or you could start taking increments out, right? But if you bought in November till now, you're probably not up. So I don't know what you mean by that. Maybe you're down. If you're just down, the only thing you could do, 2 things you could do. You just continue to hold, or you could DCA. You dollar cost average down, right? And then when things do recover, then you'll be in the green. So has Sol found support around 90? Well, you know what? It was just a little bit lower before, so it could. I mean, everything, a really easy way to see if it baseline is basically look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin recently just hit 33,000, but I'm not a big TA guy, but let's just pull up Sol here. You could see recently they dropped to about 80, and then over here they dropped to about 85 a couple times. So I would say 85 is the local bottom. If Bitcoin falls more, then it could go back to 81, but right now it does seem like 85 would have been a good pickup period. So there you go. Let's see here. DeFi Kingdom Jewel. A lot of you guys know I have a significant amount in DeFi Kingdom right now in a liquidity pool. It has not worked out so far because Jewel has dropped quite a bit since then. But I do believe that DeFi Kingdom will continue the biggest game / DEX for Harmony, and soon moving to Avalanche. So I think it'll come back. And they do seem to be very active and a huge community base. I even saw some athlete talk about DeFi Kingdoms recently. So Geo once again. OKO, you are the lifeline in this crazy market. You're our Advil. I appreciate that. I never heard anyone say I'm Advil. But I'll take it. Richard asks, could U.S. regulators force Ledger to do KYC process for cold storage wallets in the U.S.? They could, but it's very hard to. The only thing they could track is transactions. So what they could do is, let's say you transfer $10,000 into Coinbase. Coinbase will ask you, where does this come from, right? And who does it belong to? If you're transferring in to your own wallet into Coinbase, they're probably just going to make assumption that it's yours, and then they'll tag it, and they'll tag that address. That's how I'm thinking, because they're forcing exchanges to track anything that's $10,000 plus. So, I mean, you could just send $9,999 multiple times if you need to transfer more. You know, I don't know if that's like per basis or per year or what time limit, right? Griffin, thank you. Connor, I don't know if that's a good thing, but I'll take it. You talk about a lot about Anchor, yes. But a lot of people drop with Luna recently. Bad news. There's no bad news. It's perfectly normal. Luna has gone up so much, so fast. You'll notice that, okay, right now it might be in the red. Look at the last 90 days. Cardano down 48%. XRP down 44%. Solana down 54%. Guess who's not down in the last 90 days? Luna up 18%. This is the reason why it's in red. Because while everyone is looking at this, look at the last 90 days. Look at how horrific the market was in the last 90 days. Polkadot down 59% in the last 90 days. Guess who's not down 59%? Luna. Okay, so for those of you guys that are panicking about Luna, do not. They just need a breather because they had a really good run up. And in fact, they're sitting right behind Solana. So, Terra is just fine. For my L1s, I have much higher percentage ETH than others. Any percentage spread for balancing L1s? Not really. You know, basically, think about 50, 25, 25. That's usually what I advise people. 50% in Bitcoin, 25% in big caps, which in your case is Ethereum, and 25% in small caps, right? Small caps, anything under 10 billion. And that, you know, that's still a lot. Like, for example, Cosmos, which I like, is in there, right? VeChain, Phantom, and you got some other chains like Hedera. You got Metaverse plays. Those are all in the 25%. But within the 25% big cap, between Ethereum and others, there's no right or wrong. It's what you like, right? There's no right or wrong within that bucket. Lusano, please give some advice. I have 4,000 on BTC and 6,000 Ethereum. Leave it alone. What's the DCA calculator? Just go Google DCA calculator. You know, there's plenty that you'll find. In terms of that breakup, I mean, you're a little bit heavier in Ethereum, which, in my opinion, I don't think that's all that bad. I think that's okay. If you're just spreading it between the two, right, I think that's okay. Please look into Ultra. Yeah, I know what Ultra is. Ultra is just a gaming platform. They need more games on there. That's the problem I have with them. They really need to have more games, add more games. They have a few partnerships like Ubisoft and AMD and even Theta. They need to get those streaming stuff on there and get some games on there. People shouldn't sleep on Shiba. I don't think people are sleeping on Shiba. I think people just they know it's there, but it's not for them. But I still think they're really trying to use their treasury to build out a whole ecosystem. So I'm glad to see that. AMP, Gala Engine, all of them I like. Dom, I want to throw my support. I decided to retire yesterday with the income I earned from DeFi. Congratulations. Longtime DCA and holder, I am George. Congratulations. You have obtained financial freedom. You're able to retire and basically do whatever the hell you want. You're not tied to a 9 to 5 anymore. You have broken the chain. So congratulations. I'm glad you have done it. I'm glad that I was able to help you do it too. What do you think about Biden's new plan to regulate crypto? I already talked about it. You know what? It's a wait and see thing right now. Okay. It's a wait and see, because this is not something that needs to be done right now. This is something that's going to come in the coming months, right? But honestly, I think Biden has more issues to worry about, including the market and the Fed. You know, him and Powell probably go have nightly conversations. But this is, you know, you could view it as a really bad thing, but you could also view it as a good thing. This makes Bitcoin legitimized, right? With regulations, You know, it legitimizes it, and it probably will bring more money into the space because of it. But it's wait and see right now. They just want, I think what they want to do is just make sure that it's not being used for legal stuff, like funding terrorists or funding countries that we don't want to fund, or being used for money laundering, or not being people not paying taxes, you know, stuff like that they do want to avoid, right? But they're basically getting all the regulatory bodies to come up with a report and analyze how crypto should be regulated together as one. So not everyone deems crypto something different, right? So this is bringing everything together. So it's a wait and see, but it could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. All right. I think that's pretty much it. All right, let's go back to Bitcoin here. So overall, we're seeing some traction once again. You can see right here, you know, whenever I stream, Bitcoin goes up. That's a certainty, right? So there are certain things in life: taxes, death, losing money with Litecoin, and Bitcoin pumping during my streams. The 4 certainties. But we'll see. Tomorrow we have a big event, which is the options and futures expiration, which should be done by the time I stream. And then we have this new regulatory thing from the Biden administration. And tomorrow could be good because we actually got some news from Apple. Apple blew away expectations, so it's making the equity market look pretty good too. Oh, and by the way, according to this article, S&P is down 10.2% and NASDAQ is down 17.6% from the record highs. So that does show that it's already corrected. And again, things could come back up, especially when, you know, tech companies are posting such good numbers. It's making Wall Street probably reanalyze what they did. Is it really the right move to sell off tech? Maybe not, right? And you can't ignore inflation. And that's what Bitcoin is for. Hedge against inflation. All right, smash the like, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Again, I appreciate everyone that's donated. I do appreciate it. It's going for a good cause. All super chats tonight will go to the American Heart Association and anyone that used the link. I do appreciate it. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.